Welcome. Today we're really wanting to get into this fact of self-revelation. What I know always is only myself. I'm only ever experiencing what I know myself to be. It really is the case that right here where I am, all is revealed. Nothing's hidden. This is just the path of common sense. Know what is. And in knowing what is, that's the same as knowing myself, knowing thyself, knowing the one self, and being the happiness I've been seeking in everything that under assumed identification I've been endeavoring to do as a person. Our absolute fulfillment beyond understanding is already established as what it is that I am. And it happens to be the case that I can prove this infinite self. I can recognize and know this infinite self now. So what we often speak to is the law, the principle, the fact that awareness is experience and experience is awareness. What I know, what I believe myself to be, is the set point, is the unmistaken, I was going to say unrandom, but that's not a word, the match for what I know myself to be. And there's no coinky dinky and there's no accident. There's nothing random happening. We've always been in charge. We've always had dominion. Knowing this is profoundly helpful. So the purpose of self-revelation is the recognition that one already is. I don't make it so. It already is. I'm experiencing what I believe myself to be. Exclamation mark, period, end of conversation. There's no debate here. Isn't that great news? I've always been in charge. In A Course in Miracles, we often refer to a little teaching that says you are responsible for what you think, what you feel, what you see, and there's no exceptions. No rug can be pulled out from underneath you. I is all. We can know this, and in knowing this and in walking this way, the revelation of self becomes available. When I know that one is already the case, and I accept and stand definitively in the absolute as the absolute, an entirely new book opens itself up. I can shut the old book of Sally. I can shut the old book of fill in your name. It never was. A whole new book. It's very much like the teaching. If you can just grasp this for a minute, that I'm blind until I can see. You open your eyes and you think you see, but you don't. We think we see through this person that I assumed I was, but the entire scene is a fabrication. And there's a whole other thing going on. And that thing is heaven. That's why we're told don't judge from appearances and don't take thought. Just go within and get sorted at the level of source, at cause, because cause is effect and effect is cause. This is landing. Okay, so our self-revelation masterclass is bringing it all back, so to speak. Ground zero, awareness is experience. This whole trick of multiplicity or duality, as it's more commonly known, is off the hook. It never was. One is. So you can screw up the concept of duality. It doesn't need addressing. It doesn't need you to fix it. It doesn't need resolving. It just never was. That's the mistake. The elephant in the room is the belief that separation exists, that I'm separate, that anything is separate. It's all one now. And it's only when I can take my eyes off that train wreck for half a second, actually more than that, consistently. Take your eyes off the train wreck. And what we can very swiftly do is recognize that there's nothing that I'm experiencing that can separate I out of it. Take a moment there. Everything you are aware of is bound up in I, isn't it? Now let's take another step together. That's not because there is I am aware of, and there's two things happening there. It's I. Allness is I. And when I am standing in the position of misidentification, it's like putting on glasses that makes one appear as many rather than the one that it is. So first of all, we can recognize that everything I'm experiencing has I in it because it's I. Is this landing? I can see nodding. Is it involuntary nodding? And we're not trying to get this mentally. In truth, there's something within us that registers that makes all thinking nothing, redundant. Ultimately, we go beyond all human concepts, all belief, all thinking, because no thought requires I being all of I, whole, complete, fulfilled, satisfied in experience. And this is why we refer to so often the requirement to be still. Be still a little while. We have lesson 128 in A Course in Miracles fresh because this is part of our New Year retreat. Be still a little while. We're told you must do that you can't continue as you are and know reality. You've got to slow down and stop. And if you're really called, you will have no other priority than being still to recognize what it is that I am, because it will dawn on you. Revelation dawns on you as you, from you, about you. And there's no mistaking it. And self-revelation neutralizes, transcends everything you thought. Because what you thought you were was the mistake behind the thoughts, behind appearances. That was the tainting, corrupting factor in experience. So it is necessary that we be still. We're not asked very much. Not very much is asked of us, but it is precise and it is absolute. What you already are is established in perfection and completeness. You are heaven. There's a beautiful quote. I can't remember who it's from. Many hundreds of years ago, I believe. Can you slow down enough for God to catch you? And what that essentially means is the revelation of what it is that I am to reveal itself. For as long as we continue to play that game of pretending to be something that I'm not, invested as that misidentified and entirely non-existent illusory character, there's no hope. Could you put that down just for long enough that you can allow this self? And we know that there are rules here. Absolute, committed, accepted devotion and love of truth in relaxed certainty. I can only be what I am. And if you look, you can't help but make that discovery. It doesn't, spiritual realization doesn't belong to certain people. God didn't belong to Jesus the Christ as a person. The Jesus the Christ parable was really a pointing. That's what you are. You don't need me to bring the loaves and fishes out of incorporeality into corporeality. You already are everything. You have everything. You have dominion. This is up to you. But yes, of course, you can continue to pretend to be something you're not for as long as you like. No harm, no foul, because the truth is always the truth. Everyone comes around to it eventually. Some are far more stubborn than others. But the way that we recognize it is to shut the door, go within to thy closet, into the secret place of the Most High, and you will meet yourself because you are the self. We're clear? Good. Now we can get into any practical question you have, any question you have. Every session allows you the opportunity to participate, and you know that participation is key. This is your life. No one will do this for you. No one's going to take away the kingdom of heaven. No one's going to give it to you because you pretend you don't have it. The beginning of the solution is the acceptance that I do, because I is found. I has always been right where I am. I is inextricably indissoluble in everything. And this can be seen by anyone. Okay, what have we got? I can see you've got a question there.
Yeah, the question is about having dominion, um, in the recognition that the I, the one self, is already complete and whole. Um, is and it's completely separate to a world of appearances, or it's like the dominion is knowing that nothing is needed, that I have and am everything in and as spirit.
All right. It's a good question, and we're going to spend some time answering this because what is behind the need to know I have dominion over what? So we're going to park the idea because the focus is know thyself, and you know you have dominion. It's not
Mm.
something that you work towards. The goal, the purpose is so simple. We just like to keep it simple. Know thyself. That's it. And in knowing thyself, you don't have to question, what do I have dominion over? It's obvious I have dominion. So what we can clarify here is that the recognition of what is essential. Consciousness is the currency, is the fact, is the law, is undisputable. It's not an opinion. Currency of life is consciousness. Infinite consciousness. Infinity is consciousness. Life is consciousness. Use any language you like here. God is consciousness. God isn't a bearded, lovely old fellow that we can't help but anthropomorphize when we are in separation. We think there's a God because we think there's people, and we think God is quite like people, don't we? Without even having to try, because that corruption of misidentification is flavors everything, taints everything, corrupts everything. So we've got to get out of that. Consciousness is it. The only thing I can guarantee is awareness. I'm aware. Not I'm aware. Yes, we can start out with I'm aware of, but how do you know that? So we're beyond all that superficial BS. awareness. So consciousness is all, and I am aware consciousness. Therefore, I already am the all of all. I have the all of all. I, being awareness, are not limited or bound by or conformed or formed by. We're dealing with incorporeality. There's nothing material. What we've called material, we've been mistaken in thinking that it has some kind of unique substance and independent existence, and that's not the case. There's consciousness and there is aware consciousness. There is awareness. That's it. So now let's stay there to understand dominion. What can't you be aware of? And does it make any difference to awareness?
No, it's like a blank canvas, isn't it? Like there's there's nothing, there's no limitations or restrictions.
It is like a blank canvas. It is. And we might take that blank canvas and paint a trillion different pictures. But what is it that is real about those pictures? The blank canvas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is why self-revelation is, the dog's just sat on the beanbag. Good one. Got to get comfy. That's why we've got to stay at this level of the truth. It's the truth that sets you free, not trying to drag truth into nothing. In knowing what it is that I am, what I just thought I was doesn't continue to exist. It dissolves into the nothingness that is characteristic of misidentification and misperception. Misperception isn't a thing. It's like 2 + 3 = 4 isn't a thing. It's a mistake. It's replaced. Ignorance is nothing. It's just replaced by awareness. So often we hear that the fact that the earth is spherical just replaces what used to be considered real, that the earth was flat. And if you went too far, you might drop off the edge. Well, we know that's not going to happen. But there's not a movement and there's not a pocket of people who have persisted with the earth is flat, don't believe that it's round. It's crazy, right? It's just unfortunate that ego is such a difficult bitch to overcome that most will continue to defend flat out ignorance rather than be willing to look and see quite quickly and easily and readily, as we will in every single one of these Friday sessions, what I actually is plain and obvious. And as soon as that's seen, you don't mess around with nonsense anymore, do you? It's like when you know better, you do better. If you were to make a cake and they never turned out quite right, and you found a recipe that was how to make the perfect cake, and you realize what you were doing wrong, are you going to keep doing it the old way, or are you going to how to make the perfect cake?
Yeah.
Because that's what I want the perfect cake. I don't want a soggy, dense, stinky heap of chewy nothing that I likeness. I want a soft, fluffy. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So the mistake is believing I'm separate. Carry on with that and you're going to be screwed perpetually. Or here's the fact of life. I is aware consciousness. Oh, good. I can be perpetually, permanently happy in an unopposed and unchallenged fashion. Only the insane, in other words, the misidentified, would go, no, I'm just going to stick with what I know. Like that, I've seen examples of this. I worked with a woman who said she wanted to heal from lifelong pain and depression. And then when it got closer and closer, she went, no, thank you. No, thank you. And I hate you. How dare you? I've heard this so many times. How dare you suggest that permanent, perfect peace is possible? How dare you? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we go within to recognize what's obvious here. What are the constants here? What's obvious? Well, there's this sense of I in everything. Why is that? Because I is everything. It's a bit like I don't have awareness, only awareness is aware. So the one elegant step is I have to be awareness, like it's obvious. The currency of experience is awareness. You're not experiencing anything you're not aware of. So it's a bit like 2 plus 2 equals 4. So we're just going to do the math together so that we all can have the self same revelation and life that's possible in the greater works as what I really am, as the being that I is. Which, yes, most don't like to talk about this, but I have dominion. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no victims here. Yeah.
No, there really aren't.
Being.
Well, no, which is very unpopular because most really want there to be a victim and a victimizer because taking profound responsibility for the correction is, well, it's not, that's why they're few there be, shall we say. But here we are. We're acknowledging few there be. We're joining together few there be. That's fine. As soon as something becomes popular, I would run for the trees, run for the hills. There's that quote that I wrote in a mind revolution that is popular opinion really is just an indicator of mass psychosis. You do not want to go there. That's not it. We're not interested in the guru system where someone becomes popular. We're here to know thyself because there is one self and it is our divine inheritance and it's self same self, the one self available to all. No one special, no inequality. Look within. So those mind revelatory activities, the mystical mind awareness activities are essential. And yes, we must be still. Yes, we must go within knowing that what I is the infinite self. There's not a portion of infinite self and a portion of personal self. Just like the relationship between the author and its characters. None of the characters in a book are a little bit themselves and a little bit the author, are they? There is only one. It is fact now. And if we want to know reality, if we want to know heaven, this is the way. This trick of being somebody somewhere in time and space is just a dream, an illusion of nothingness. We don't die into heaven. If that was the case in the state of the world that it is today, wouldn't we all be topping ourselves? It's like, oh no, I'm out of here. I'm going to heaven, thanks. That's much better proposition. So we wake up to realize the world as I saw it never was. Okay, no harm, no foul. Anything more?
No, thank you.
Excellent. I'll see you all next week. Happy
Thanks.
day.
Bye.